another, people, backstabbing one another, people doing all manner of things just because they cannot be able to manage conflict. And that's why we have decided to have this conversation today on the Good Morning Africa show. Of course, I won't be doing this alone. I have an expert with me who specializes on relationship matters like this, and together we'll be having this conversation. But before I introduce my guest, I Can Make It is on standby. When we come back, the conversation continues. Stick around.
Hello, you are welcome to I Can Make It. What a joy to life. You remember our last edition? I was talking about life is a journey. It's not a 1 meter dash. There are so many challenges that come our way. If we are patient and willing and obedient, we will eat the good of the land. You are not a mistake. God created you for a purpose. And because you have purpose to fulfill, God protects you, guide you, and deliver to you your portion in the land of the living. But a lot of us along the line, we cut short our life by our behavior, by our character, by the things we do. So life is not a 1 meter dash. A lot of us need to learn to delay gratification. Like our last edition, if you follow us, I was sharing with you about a man that went on a journey to serve so that he can take care of his family. And as he went, where we stopped last time, when the boss told him, I'm not going to give you money. I want to give you 3 pieces of advice in life. And if you follow it in your journey, you will arrive. And I want to say the same thing to you today. In your journey, you will arrive. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. You don't need to kill yourself. There is nothing that you are going through in life today that is new. The only thing that is new is that you are just new in this environment. That is why when young people tell me, oh, you are old school, I only laugh. I tell them you are the new student. You are welcome to I Can Make It. Now, never take shortcut in life. The master told him, never take shortcut. Shortcut will cut short your life. Then the number 2 thing the master told him, never be too curious towards evil. He said, because that curiosity will lead you to a dead end. Number 3 thing the master told him, never make decision in the moment of anger and pain, for you might not be able to reverse it. Now, in the journey of life, this young man got in contact with all these 3 things as his journey in life. I want to continue the story. And after giving him the piece of advice, the boss said to him, you hear what I have told you. These 3 loaves of bread, I'm going to give you 3 loaves of bread. You are going to eat one of them. And number 2, you are going to eat one of them as you go. And as you journey, you eat another one. So you eat one of them now. Then as you take this journey, you eat another one. When you get home to your wife that you have not seen for the past 20 years because you came into this journey so that you can make money, so that you can work and give your wife a good life. And he said you open the 3rd one and you are going to eat the last bread. Now, as this young man take his journey, while he was going, he on his way, and the journey was going to take him 20 days. And as he began to move on his way, 5 days into the journey, he met a man along the way. What did the man tell him? The man tried to show him a shortcut. The man told him, why are you going to go through all these things? Because a lot of our young people today, shortcuts have cut short their life. If you go to our correction center, you see a lot of young people, they are there in regret. You see a lot of our young ladies, they are entering into incurable disease, STD, so many things that is happening. The reason why these things happen, because they don't learn to delay gratification. Let me tell you something. The difference between you and anybody is time. So take your time. Take your time is not an insult. It simply means get focused. Pursue your goal. Pursue your dream. You can make it. God did not create you. You didn't escort anybody to this world. It does not matter what is happening. You can succeed. And this young man came in contact with another man. Said, why are you going to take this journey for 20 days? Come on now. We can make this journey in less than 5 days. You will be at home. As the young man turned back to follow that man, he remembered what the master told him. Don't take shortcut. And the man came back and continued in this journey. That's number 1 hurdle. And while he was traveling, he came into a place he needed to lodge. He needed a place to lodge to rest. While he was in the lodging place in the night, at about 2, 3 o'clock in the midnight, he heard a very sharp noise. That noise was heavy. He woke up from the sleep and he was trying to run outside to check what was happening. Then he remembered what the master told him. Don't be curious. A lot of people, you are too interested in so many things that is not interested in you. Curiosity have landed a lot of people into so many things, inexplainable things that they find themselves in life. In this journey of life, like I said, it's not a 1 meter dash. You just need to be patient. Don't be curious. And this master told him, don't be curious. And instead of you to run outside that night, he remembered and went back and stayed back into his room. You know what happened? In the morning, the guest came and saw him and said, what's happening? He said, I want to leave. He said, did you not hear the noise last night? He said, I heard the noise last night. He said, why did you not come out? He said, well, I wanted to come out, but I just changed my mind. You know what the man told him? The man said, every guest that have lodged into this place, they never leave here alive. They never leave here alive. He said, because there is one man there. Every time you will make a very sound noise, and if you go and check, you will be graveyard ready for going to check. Curiosity have landed a lot of people into so many problems. I tell you, life is a journey. It's not a 1 meter dash. You can make it if only you learn to delay gratification. Take into cognizance the things you have been told. It was Isaac Newton that said, if I have seen above, it's by standing on the shoulder of them that have gone ahead of me. If you listen, you will learn. When you learn, you will lead. And when you lead, you will arrive at your destination. You can make it. Then the third one that happened to him along the line, while he traveled this journey. You know, in the journey of life, you need to learn to be patient. Patience will bring you into your inheritance. Patience will bring you into so many things in life. Let me tell you something. You don't go to compare yourself among other people. They that compare themselves among themselves are not wise. I want to tell you today, you can make it. I want to also welcome you. Our next edition, I will continue with the story. Until I see you in our next edition, don't forget, this is Simon and Semota saying, you can make it. God bless you.
When the city is getting too loud, you need a home. Home is love, peace, and tranquility. Home is Housing TV Africa. Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
Welcome back. My guest is just joining me, and he's actually the first guest for this conversation. I have Barrister Ugo Harris Onfor. He's a legal practitioner, an author, a relationship coach, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist on the Cover Me Foundation and Humpy Foundation, and together we'll be having this conversation: conflict management, how to navigate relationship crisis, and also other issues relating to relationship. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too, Memuna. Thank you so much for having me.
You're highly welcome.
Happy New Year, viewers.
Yeah. So conflict management, of course. You know, there are certain topics we don't talk about on a daily basis, and I really don't know why, but we need to bring these topics to light. People need to understand that, hey, there are certain things that are very, very vital and important, most especially when you're having relationships with people. Because people think it's just having, you know, being in an intimate relationship that you know how to handle people. No. You must know how to handle people in other aspects. You have colleagues, you have other people's children living with you, you have your neighbors, you have friends. So first, let's start with what really is conflict management.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you again for having me. And first of all, to answer that question, I want to build on something.
Okay.
And what's that? It's about the identity of a human being. The nature of humans is that we're all social beings. That's how God made us. We have been made to relate with one another, and that explains why it takes two people to produce a child. Otherwise, a woman can just give birth, but you need a man. The man can just give birth. You need a woman. So we have man as a social being, but these social beings have been made to be individualistic in their characteristics. Okay, yeah, man was formed to be an individual in his character. That's why you hardly will find anybody that has the same thumbprint like you. That's how ideal and unique you are from me. DNA shows that you came from this person, but in characteristics, you can't have 100% characteristics like the other person. It's not possible. And that is why if you have 10 billion people on earth, you're definitely going to have 10 billion fingerprints. And that's how God made it. So people are not well educated or informed that you are different from this person. So there are bound to be places where we will have divergent views, disagreements, misunderstanding, because my understanding might be different from you, which can be fashioned by how I was brought up, my social environment, my background, historical background, you different, and even education. So conflicts, what is conflict? Conflict is disagreements, simply put. It is having disagreements. So there's nothing wrong with having disagreements. That is the core nature of humans, to have misunderstandings, to have individual uniqueness about us. Now, what is conflict management? It is the ability to come to compromises, respect each other's views, come to compromises, to be able to form a common cause, irrespective of our divergent views. Okay. Now, where there is now conflict that is not manageable is where A, knowing that you are an individual with certain unique characteristics, tells B, you have your own divergent views, but you must follow my own for us to pursue this common goal. Okay? So then there's war, there's problem, and one person dies. That hasn't solved it. That hasn't solved or propagated the
problem.
Yes, the problem. So conflict management is where people are not able to manage or minimize. Okay, it might not clear, but at least minimize to a very, very civil limit. Civil limit is where we respect ourselves. Civil limit where you might not be able to extricate all, but minimize it in a way that we respect his views and we talk. And the only way to do that is when we put those things on the table. Well, I'm going to tell you steps people can take to deal with that.
I like the part where you stated that whenever there are issues, people should bring it to the table. Now, this brings me to my next question, which is family. Of course, we all came out from a family. And we're meant to understand that family is the foundation in which each and every human being either behaves, relates with people, their characters, and what have you. Now comes to relationship with people. Are you saying that family plays a huge role in shaping people's mentality?
Fundamentally. Fundamentally. You know, I'm a Christian. However, I don't like calling devil devil's name when somebody does something wrong. They say it's the devil.
How is it the devil?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Well, did the devil come to
Do you understand? I mean,
there?
devil, how? Leave devil alone. Devil always have an entry level into our lives if we want him to, if we allow him to. But let's be responsible to our lives. Okay, so the family is responsible. First of all, family is the source of your entry on earth. Whether that family is in the bush, in the wilderness, wherever, you came from a family. When I mean family, whether married or unmarried, the family is those two people that copulated, leading to the fetus being formed and the birth, the child being delivered. Those two people have the responsibility because God is entrusting you with this seed to raise that child. Now, the historical background of those two people will go a long way in shaping how this child will be raised. So if these two people, for instance, were not even married, that begins to shape the child. If these two people were from divorced homes, that will shape this child. If these two people, one maybe was living wayward and all that, it will shape this child. If these two people were always fighting in the presence of this child at 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 to 11 to 12, until the child becomes a teenager, the child will always take after one of those things. If these two people were taking the child to, I have a lot of matters that we've handled in our NGO, to the extent, I mean, we investigate this child. Why is this girl, why are you standing on the streets? Find out that my mom drove me into it. I give returns to my mom because that's how she believes survival can happen. Okay, so the family is very key. School is secondary. Primary is the family. The school, because the school can't do beyond what the family can do. Because you can decide, you determine the school you put your child. That's already a decision for the child. You now put the child in the school, you don't even know what's going on in the child's life. For 1 week, you don't converse with your little girl. For instance, my daughter, I mean, you can't, every day, I mean, when I go home now, she's going to ask me, she's going to tell me everything about what happened in school. Who talked to her, who didn't talk to her. She'll tell my wife, she'll tell everybody, she'll tell us. Because we made it a point of duty, we need to get involved with your life. She carries my phone or the phone in the house or her brother's phone. She'll look at it. If anything pops up, she knows. We didn't even say, set it. She knows. She said, Daddy, this one, please. Do you understand? You make the child. Because I've practiced law for like 24 years now. And so over times in my practice, we've gone to court for defiled kids and all that. And it's 80% is from the home. From the home. So the family, to answer your question, the family is very, very primary to how a child is cultured, formed, arranged. The potentials of the child being unlocked is dependent on the family. So because the family, you can say school, the family decides which school. If you withdraw your child from a school, that child won't go to that school. So the family is very fundamental. So we have to look now into the family. How do we help this family? I am not going to judge anybody whether it is a broken home or not broken home. But in fact, it is the definition of that child. Characteristically, that is where it comes from, the family. The family. And that's why we're going to hold responsibility. Under Nigerian law, in the Child's Rights Act, you have sections where you deal with families that are not responsible to the child. We can actually file cases against those people and take those children from them. And it becomes a child of the government. It can be done. So the law has given a window where such things can be dealt with. Of course, in our conversation, we can deal with that.
Okay. That's a very good one. So we're going somewhere, and that's the reason why we're taking it gradual, trying to even know what exactly is this conflict management. So why do you think people cannot bear with themselves? I want to use that word bear. I don't want us to say, oh, why is it that people can no longer accommodate each other? Why do you think people cannot bear
so
each other?
I did some research. When I say research, not to be reading, I mean people's research. talk with people that have had conflict. And first of all, is ignorance. Ignorance it's very key. It's very ignorance. Two, it's the need and the drive. Let me say not the need, the drive to survive. Yes, survival. So you want to survive by all means, then you don't care about the next person. Okay, so I don't care. And another reason why they do that, we have a society where people, with all due respect to Nigeria, we are not, you can't call our society a very educated society. We are not as civilized as some other people are.
Of course.
It's not because of the bridges are not there, it's because of the people. How many people are out of school? How many kids are out of school? How many people went to good schools? The molding of a child is very key too, because a child that has gone to school with legs, with bare foot and goes to school every day, does everything, is already forming anger against society. So the child is already growing up with anger stomached and waiting to unleash the world. So the family, and sometimes it's influence from peers. This world, nobody cares for you. That's some trend I'm seeing, like say, no grief for anybody, that kind of thing. So, and you see those things molding this individual on social media too. The person now says, so the person is now ready to survive against all odds.
Whatever will happen,
so
let it happen.
Put your head,
yes.
Put your head, and I'll make I see.
Yes,
Those kinds of
yes.
Just try me now. You understand me?
Yes.
So those things have formed this person, and that is why I still go back to the family. If you are a loner, that's different. But the family, you would have noticed some of these characteristics or traits in the person, and you start correcting it. If a father, a mother, a guardian, somebody, whoever is responsible for that child, would have noticed that this person is tending towards this. And they make the mistake of assuming it is a character that the child was born with. It's not true. Every character is built, not born. Okay? Every character. Now, every human being is born with the trait of every kind of character you can mention. Greed, selfishness, wickedness, even killing, waywardness. Every human being is born with a pinch of all those things. Now, culturing now determines which one will become influential over the others. That is about humans. Okay, so if the child is now exposed to this environment, the I no grief for anybody kind of environment, and those are things I thought the our orientation agency, because that's their job, they're supposed to have gone through our social media and seen what is being propagated. Let us start educating our children in school. Grief for anybody is not good.
Yes.
Grief for people, because our fundamental right in our constitution says that my right, because it's civilization, my right stops where your own starts.
Yeah.
So why are you now saying, so if my own extends beyond here, you will now say, I say I no grief for you. You say no grief for me. And that's where conflict comes in. And that is when a orientation agency, and I charge whoever the DJ is, to be able to take up the responsibility that you have a role to start culturing the minds of our youths and our children. Talking to them, go on, do it. You have all the avenues to do that. Okay? To be able to culture their minds and tell, please, this is not it. So it is not just about talking about it. We need to be intentional about solving it. Certain things. If you have peers, if you go to school, because we need to engage them in schools where these people are, the get-rich-quick syndrome. This one is not trending about girlfriends are being killed because the man wants to make quick money. I don't know who advised them that if you kill somebody, the head will be vomiting money. That's silly. First of all, that's cruel. That's terrible. That's not true. Because they find out if that was true, that so-called native doctor that they usually use. Why are you not driving limousine? And they are doing tattered. And they are still, so it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's a lie. Okay? So how do we start engaging this conversation? The government, of course, the Minister of Information, then all the agencies under the ministry, like National Orientation Agency, which is talking to young people. you can be, the system has made it possible for you to be wealthy if you're hardworking.
Of course.
No grief for anybody should have been a subject they would have picked on and say, grieve for everybody. Everybody, because if you grieve for me and I grieve for you. That's civilization.
Yes.
So, but that's conversation. When I looked at it, I watched, is there anybody talking against this thing? There's nobody talking against it. I was even tempted to sue them on order of mandamus to be able to get it from conversation. But of course, it's a one-man crying in the wilderness sort of thing. So this is what we are facing today. And that is why it has now led to these things that you're now hearing here and there about people killing people and all that. Everybody wants to survive. So survival is part of it. Peer group is part of it. Family upbringing is part of it. These are all the things that mold everybody to, I must survive, I must do my own. Especially in a country where, of course, the economy, as far as the federal government is trying to do whatever can do their best. But of course, things have gone up a little bit somehow, not just a little bit, things have gone up. So people now say, this year, like I saw in people's status, this year is red. Can you imagine that?
I don't even know who is coming up with all of those things in the first place.
Twisted minds. There are people that are twisted in their thinking. So they sit down like this, red, and they post it. And
then other people copy without even knowing.
There was one I saw during Christmas. The person said, on New Year, this year, I will eat people's money. Listed about 8 items.
Okay, yes, I saw what I will eat people's money. I will take what belongs to Caesar for Caesar. I will, yes, I actually saw that right up. And it's really funny because when I read through it, I actually thought someone was making a joke out of it. You know how people can just go on social media and then post. But then I kept seeing...
Teenagers are picking up those things. A teenager sees it.
Yes, I will reap where I did not sow.
Good. Why would you reap where I did not sow? Why would you? Yeah. And that conversation... You see, sometimes you look at communist countries, you don't blame them in certain things. They try to manage this country. This is what the Ministry of Information should have picked on. The next thing, go on TV, go on social media and ban that kind of rubbish. And start talking to young people. You will reap where you sow. It's in our constitution. You can't just, can you wake up and it's flying around? And it is very potent. You will take what belongs. How would you take what belongs? That's stealing already. That's stealing already. And
that's going the extra mile of acquiring things that you did not work for.
So somebody reads it. Somebody sits down like this. He reads it. He's informed. The next thing he's going to do is, Memunat has that. How will I take it? Somebody will now come and suggest the means. But you already nursed it. Because the ambition and intention has been nursed. Then somebody will now come and say, why not just tell her to go? Did you see what happened about a girl in Delta State? She went to see her boyfriend, and the guy didn't have, she's 22 years, I think. The guy didn't have 2,000 to give her to go back. Of course, they went to spend New Year or Christmas together. Do you know what the girl told the boy? She's in second year. Call my parents that she's been kidnapped. And the silly boy agreed and called, and the parents started panicking. The father, who is trying to make ends meet, offered 40,000. They refused. Offered 100,000. They refused. Said, if you don't do it, so within 2 days, the man went and begged people and arranged 2 million, which was what they were requiring from them. But the man was smart. He now went to police and told police, look at what's happening. Police now played along. Police, give it to them, they can be very good.
If they want to be
good.
Yes. Of course, if they want to really do
I was so pleased with the police, Nigeria police. They now followed this thing up, and the boy received the money. And gave the stupid girl 500,000.
And at 1.5.
That's the agreement they had. He's the one pulling the job now. And gave her 500,000. And they were happy. They hailed themselves. It is in that they caught them. And the video, I will send you the video where they were confessing. Of course, this is. So that thing was built somewhere. And the police asked the lady, who took you to school? Your mother is who? They are not well to, they are managing. And they borrowed money, everything, to be able to get you out. It was just a wicked girl. But she was formed, that was formed where?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, I equally alert the minds of the parents. I hold them responsible. I know the child is an adult, but she was molded somewhere. There are certain places that is unheard of. So a girl forms that she needs to be kidnapped, and she was kidnapped. So they are now charging them for kidnapping. Since you kidnapped and you collected ransom, you are a kidnapper. Whether you are playing or not playing police, and that is a capital offense.
Yeah, it is.
Capital offense. So that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what we're having.
So sad. So this brings us to I won't even say the main topic, but the main issue on ground, yeah? I know you are familiar with the trending story on ground presently that just busted out, I think 2 days, yeah? It's up to 2 days now. It started on social media, Nigerians on social media started mourning the death of Salome, a very young girl, 24 years. She was murdered by her boyfriend, so-called boyfriend, who they said is a gospel musician. But then there are so many ways into the story, Even while we were discussing before, we came into the studio, you gave me heads up of, some of the researches you have done concerning this case, and how far you have dug out, some information. Now, let's talk about this particular case because it's worrisome. It's worrisome because it has to do with a life. A life has been gone. And going by the story that the alleged murderer is giving, is just not straight to us. So we're asking questions. First things first, would you attribute this to conflict management?
Well, personally, this is not conflict management issue. The law deals with conflict management in a particular way. Yeah, I mean, let me give you one aspect in the criminal code where you want to hit me. I should hit you with the degree that is commensurate with what you want to hit me with. So if you want to shoot me, or you wanted to hit me with a stick, why would I go and carry a rod?
To hit you.
So the law allows you to have self-defense and all those kind of things. Now, conflict management is when issues are put on the table. This man, I think his name is Ajayi,
yes,
the so-called guy.
Timileyin.
Yes, he was caught. He did not call. I mean, I have certain other ones there. The person calls the police. I just killed him.
That would even want to even fake up a story and call the police.
I called, yes.
Give a story.
They have the one that killed the nurse wife in the U.S. I have many of them. So there were some 4 boys last 3 years that were caught with the girlfriend of one of them, the head. They were moving. Vigilante people caught him. Vigilante caught him with the head, and because they were cooking the head.